This is called the Tashko Loiloi Kosaku, the Russian-Georgian dance. It's pretty groovy. Welcome to the show. This is KO Bets. My name is Bill. Before we start the video, if you could please subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like it, dislike it if you don't, leave a comment down below, or if you're joining for the live stream, just come on in, hang out. You can give your comments in the chat. I'll read along with those as we go through the predictions. So tonight we're going over tomorrow's fights for UFC 267, Blachowicz versus Teixeira. This is taking place on Yas Island in Abu Dhabi, the United Arab Emirates. I think the prelims start fairly early. So, oh wow, they start at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. The main card is on at 1 p.m. Central Time. So that's like my whole Saturday. So unfortunately, I'll probably be watching the main card. There's a couple of interesting fights on the prelim that maybe I'll go back and watch afterwards, but I'll probably be tuning in primarily for the main card of this set of fights. So without further ado, let's just get into the fights. To start off the night, we got this is gonna be a rough week for for pronunciations for me. So I've got Tagir Unlabekov against Alan Nascimento. Alan's making his debut in the UFC. He is a jiu-jitsu artist with 13 submission wins, so pretty impressive finishing rate considering he has 17 wins. All 5 of his losses have come via decision, and he's not super active. I think the last fight I found for him was 2018. So not sure what that was attributed to. Didn't really do much research into it, but he hasn't been super active. His opponent is Tagir. He's 1-0 in the UFC. Wrestler, Sambo, he's decent on the feet, but definitely a wrestler at heart. I think he's got a pretty decent IQ. I think he can survive whatever Alan presents in round 1, early in round 2, ultimately just kind of take over the fight and possibly win a decision. So we're going to go with Tagir on the money line. The odds makers, and this could be, I noticed as I was checking today, the odds update all the time. I'm referring to DraftKings, and these odds I have written down aren't live, but they're relatively current, so I think you could get something close to the same bargain as what I'm throwing out there today. So Tagir's the favorite, minus 425, and that's the story of this card. Like, some super heavy favorites, and not that like those guys shouldn't win the fight or don't maybe represent or have the fight skills to make you think like, oh, there's a good chance he's going to win this fight. Like, it's the opponent on the other side of the octagon though. In some of these fights, it's just, I don't want to call it disrespectful to like put Tagir at minus 425 odds, but it may be a little bit disrespectful to put Allen at plus 320. So, like I said, all 5 losses of Allen's come via decision. I expect Tagir, if he's going to win this fight, to do it via the decision. Ground control, ground and pound. Maybe attacking submissions, but I don't really see him scoring a submission against Allen. I could see Allen submitting Tagir though in round 1, and I mean, or maybe even round 2, or just, just catching him in a ground exchange. So, I mean, you could get a Allen submission for plus 1,000. I think that's a fool's errand to chase after that line, but I do like Ulanbekov minus 105 for a decision. I like the fight to go the distance. That's a minus 165 bet if you think the fight's going to go the distance. Honestly, the only way I see Allen winning's with a decision. Moving on to the next bout, we've got Hugh Yazong against Andre Petrosky. Hugh Yazong, interesting fight career thus far in the UFC. He started off at heavyweight, then went to light heavy, and now he's fighting this match at middleweight. And I think I remember saying, like, when he went down to 205, I was like, this guy's not that big still. Just checking the measurables. And even against Petrosky, it's just a little surprising to see, like, he's not that big for once being a heavyweight. But that being said, he's had a lot of time to go through that transformation. He's been very inactive. Last fight was November 2018. Petrosky, he's 1-0 in the UFC. All of his wins have come via the finish, whether that's a KO or submission. The breakdown for those 6 wins, 4 KOs, 2 submissions. His game, it's going to be taking a guy like Hugh Yazong to the ground, implementing ground and pound. Potentially, I don't really see him necessarily scoring a finish in this, but he could do it via ground and pound. I think if Hugh Yazong gets to the mat, he's in a lot of trouble in this fight. So I'm going to go with Andre Petrosky on the money line pick. The odds makers have Petrosky at minus 225 odds. Hugh Yazong is at plus 185 odds. This is a fight line that I obviously like better than the previous one for the favorite Andre Petrosky. You could bet on Andre to win via KO or decision for minus 105 odds. I just don't really see him losing to Hugh Yazong unless he just like stands there and boxes with him, which I just don't see that necessarily happening. All right. This one, oh nice, it's loading. Earlier today this page wasn't loading. And as a result, I just like skipped over it entirely when I was doing my research throughout the week here. So we've got Makwan Amirkhani against Lerone Murphy. Murphy is 10-0 with a no contest. Makwan is 16-6. It's a pretty interesting fight. Makwan's coming off of a 2-fight losing streak. Obviously, very good submission artist. If you just look at win by percentage, he's got this anaconda choke. It's pretty decent. Did fight in 2021. I didn't recall watching his most recent bout. I think he's going to be, and he has had some gas tank issues. I think the name of the game for him is just wrestling with Lerone Murphy. He's 2-0 in the UFC, really good boxer, knows how to win a fight, striking, whether that's with the KO finish or, point fighting the opponent and scoring a decision. He is pretty, I don't know how his grappling skills are. I don't think they're particularly great where he would want to test them against a guy like Makwan. So I think he should just do the smart thing, keep the fight standing, avoid going to the mat, whether that's being, baited there by Makwan after, Makwan plays possum a little bit just to get him to the ground, or if Makwan's shooting for takedowns, he's just gotta be ready to defend those. So I like Lerone Murphy. I tend to like a decision. Let's go over the odds. Odds makers got Lerone Murphy minus 300, Makwa plus 235. I like a Murphy decision. You do kind of wonder with the 6 KO wins, it's possible you could put out Makwan on the feet, but Makwan's, I don't know, he's pretty durable. I don't think he's been finished too many times, so a Murphy decision's plus 140. You could do, Murphy KO or decision for minus 280. It's a little bit of an improvement over the minus 300 odds on the money line. I think it's pretty safe to assume that Lerone's not going to submit Makwan, but crazy things have happened in the sport. All right, in the next fight, we've got Shamil Gamzatov against Michael Oleksiejczuk. Shamil's 1-0 in the UFC. I don't know why, so I noticed this too. His record's 14-0. Not 1-0. I don't know if they just don't count, like the PFL or TFL, whatever league he was in before. But he's got more than one professional fight. 10 out of 14 of his wins have come via the finish. In his UFC debut, he scored a split decision win. Wasn't hugely impressive. Implemented a lot of kicks, and then he's going to want to wrestle in all likeliness with a guy like Michael. I think he's going to be the bigger fighter in this match. And then on the flip side, you got Michael, who's 3-2-1 in the UFC. His last fight was a split decision win. And his game is volume, He wants to push the pace, throw a lot of strikes, and in all likeliness, he's got a high KO percentage. In all likeliness, if this fight is only on the feet, Michael should fare very well in this. I just kind of think he's gonna maybe be prone to some takedowns. You can see that takedown defense at 35%. But he's also fought against some, I would argue, better competition than Shamil. I don't know if he's fought against better wrestlers necessarily than Shamil, though. So, I just kind of like Shamil's ability to maybe get this fight to the mat. I kind of like it to go the distance. That's minus 160 odds. For either fighter, I think the path to victory here is a decision. I think if you're Shamil, you're looking to get top position, control the fight on the mat. And if you're Michael, you're looking to score points and not get taken down. I don't think you're necessarily coming out the gate if you're a fighter like Michael looking to score, an early round 1 KO. Because if you overextend it all, you're just going to be prone to an easy takedown for a guy like Shamil. So I like a decision outcome for either fighter. You could get that for minus 150 odds. I think that's pretty decent. I'm going to go with Shamil on the money line. odds makers have him at -125. Michael's odds are, as the underdog, are +235. So we'll go with Shamil here, the favorite. Actually, as I begin to look through, my picks on the card, I think I just have one, maybe two underdogs highlighted. So in the next fight, we've got Elizus dos Santos against Benoit Saint Denis or something like that. He's French, and I'm just trying to think of like fighters we've seen making their debuts out of France and like how they fare. And I mean, this guy's not a heavyweight, but just look at like who's fighting for the heavyweight belt. You got Francis Ngannou, Cyril Gane. I mean, it's almost like part of me is real tempted to take a fighter like Benoit. When I was looking at his fight history and tape, he's decently, like, he's got some decent striking, but out of his 8 wins, 7 have come via submission. Only 1 has come via the KO. Then on the flip side, we've got Elizu, who's 1-2 in his last 3. 17 out of 22 of his wins come via the finish. I think he's doesn't have awful takedown defense. That being said, he does get taken down occasionally. He's got big power. I think he's just going to be maybe a little too strong for Benoit to implement whatever, wrestling game plan or whatever his game plan is to score that submission typically in a fight. I think Elizu's going to be just a little too strong, physical, to implement that type of game plan. And then I think combining that with, the power he possesses in his hands, it's tough for me to pick Benoit. But yeah, I am getting like a little bit of some flashbacks to, watching some other fighters who have been undefeated, making debuts out of France, and, maybe a little bit raw as far as technical skill, but, I expect the dude to come in shape, All right. In our next fight, we've got... I'm picking Elizu dos Santos. -235 was the odds. Let me pull it back up. And then Benoit was +190 if you like him. I'm liking Elizu to potentially score a KO. If he doesn't, I think he could still win a decision. So an Elizu KO is +130. An Elizu KO or decision is -225. I probably would just take the bet on Elizu on the money line if I was interested in placing a KO or decision wager on him. It's just too close. Albert Duraev against Roman Kopylov. Albert's one of these guys, again, with the weird looking records. He's 14-3. 1-0, and he's making his UFC debut. So in his 17 professional fights, out of the 14 wins, 9 came via submission, 3 via KO. Giving you that info. I mean, it makes no sense. Rant time. I know the UFC does not publish content for an idiot like me to come on a live stream, that I'm doing from my office, that, I know they don't publish their website for idiots like me. I mean, it's a nice layout. It could be better, though, in my opinion. I think, the information that they provide, I think they could get a little more detailed. I think they could play the angle of, like betting trends and stuff, and just get, I think they could do a little bit more with the website is all. And if that takes like buying a statistics company to like, or partnering with someone like that, like you do it. You do it. And then you make sure your shit is accurate. How is a 1-0 fighter win his one fight 21% of the time via KO, 64% of the time via submission, and 14% of the time via decision? Makes no sense. That's why I'm not sure if like they're discrediting like a specific league for some of these fighters who come in, or if they're just like, I just don't get it. If anyone knows, feel free to comment and let me know, because I'd love to be informed as to why this happens. I apologize if that was annoying, but it annoyed me earlier. So yeah, we got Albert. He's making his debut here. Oh, all 3 losses for him have come via KO. And his opponent here, 9 out of the 8 of his wins come via KO. He is Roman Kopylov. He is 0-1 in the UFC. His loss came to Carl Robertson via submission, which now he's going up against another arguably better submission artist and grappler in Albert Duraev. I think that's why Duraev on a debut against a fighter with Roman's skill set, I think that's why he's so heavily favored. Is people are just fading what they saw from Roman. They're seeing the opponent in this matchup, and they just don't see how he could beat a wrestler. And I tend to feel the same. So the line on Albert's minus 380. We're taking the favorite again. I kind of like him to come in and like either submit or potentially like ground and pound Roman Kopylov. He just needs to implement the takedown, ground and pound. If Roman starts to flip to his stomach, just go for the rear naked choke and it's over. It's over, baby, no problem. Albert Duraev via submission or KO is minus 150 odds, a little bit of improvement over the minus 380. The Albert submission is plus 130. Will the fight go the distance? If you think the answer is no, so does Vegas. The odds are minus 225. So they're banking on some sort of finish. We're expecting some sort of finish in this fight. I personally think it's just going to come from a swarming Albert Duraev. And it's just hard for me to say, like, obviously submission seems likely. But the ground and pound is pretty serious, pretty good. So you just don't, I don't know. I probably wouldn't bet on a single type of prediction in that fight. In the next fight, we've got Ricardo Ramos against Zubaira Tehugov. Ricardo Ramos, he's coming off of a 1-fight win streak against Billy Algeo. All 3 of his career losses have come via some form of a finish. He's been around for a little while. He's a decently savvy striker. I kind of like his strike style, but he's going up against another Russian who's probably going to have a decent ground game to implement, and Yeah, I think it's in this one. It's a question of like, yeah, Ricardo Ramos. Maybe he's gonna go for more likely to go for a finish on the mat, but Zybora just, I mean, I think he's gonna be able to get his takedowns and he's gonna be able to control Ricardo on the mat then. So I like Zabira, minus 170 odds. I think he'll probably score a decision as opposed to, getting a ground and pound stoppage or submission stoppage. Yeah, I kind of like the fight to go the distance. That's minus 165 odds. And Zabira decision is plus 140. Kind of like that. So he did lose a split decision to Akeem Dawodu in his debut, but I mean, and Ricardo's a little unorthodox in his own respect, but I think Zabira is. I mean, it was a split decision loss. He did decent in the fight. I think he can beat Ricardo Ramos. All right, and this is the fight where I'm taking the underdog. We've got Amanda Ribas against Virna Jandiroba. Ultimately, I'm just always very impressed when I see Virna fight. She's on a one-fight win streak now, although her last fight came to I think it was the last fight she lost came to Mackenzie Dern, the other one Esparza. So given her skill set and her grappling abilities, I find it a little bit strange that she lost to the the grapplers that she did. I mean, Dern's another level, but I think she's got a decent game, On the flip side, we've got Amanda Ribas, who I like as well. Probably gonna be a little bit better striker in this, but I think Virna's pretty savvy in her own right, so I don't know. We're going with Virna on this. I don't even want to nominate any sort of prop bet. They're both jiu-jitsu artists. They both, I think Amanda's more dangerous on the feet. I think Virna is more dangerous on the ground. I think if Amanda wins, it's likely a point decision. I think if Virna wins, it could be a point decision. It could be, from all the ground control or whatever, or it's going to be a submission. But I couldn't really leave a prediction, but I do like Virna in that fight, I think. In the next fight, we've got Magomed Ankalaev against Volkan Ozdemir. Magomed is the favorite, minus 350 odds. He's on a 6-fight win streak after his debut loss to Paul Craig, where he just, it was just an unfortunate result for him in that fight, considering how well he was doing. We've got Volkan Ozdemir plus 270 odds. He's on a 1-fight losing streak. If we're comparing the two fight styles, I think Magomed is going to be the better wrestler, but I think he also presents his own challenges to Volkan on the feet. And then it's just kind of coupling that with a good fighter's IQ and the takedown ability. I just like Magomed to win this fight in a variety of outcomes. Volkan, I mean, I don't know. So what's interesting is Magomed doesn't have a single submission win, but he does have quite a few KO wins. I think a lot of those have come via ground and pound. I like him as a fighter. Yeah, I'm going to go with Magomed in this fight. The Magmed KO's plus 110. I don't think the fight goes the distance. That's minus 200 odds. So if you're betting on Magmed, those are a couple of, prop bets you could explore. I do like the fight not to go the distance. We've seen Volkan get KO'd. Out of his 17 wins, 12 of his wins have come KO. So you think of it, from the other side here. Yeah, I mean, if he's going to win, it's probably going to be with striking and knocking out Magmed. Because I think if Magmed gets in any trouble on the feet, the smart things to do to shoot for the takedown and just get control of the fight. Here we go. We've got Li Jingliang against Khamzat Chimaev. So, little fact, betting fact. We've got Li Jingliang here. He's number 11 in the world at his weight class. And we've got Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat is a minus 650 favorite. Li Jingliang is a plus 460 underdog. So this is the biggest spread between a ranked underdog and an unranked favorite in UFC history. So that just tells you everyone is super high on Khamzat. At first, I was like, he's impressive. But I was kind of, I don't know, I was just thinking this guy was not maybe a good striker, but he seems proficient enough to, for those wrestlers he goes up against, he seems proficient enough striking-wise to, really put them at a disadvantage. And then wrestling-wise, he's terrific. So I gotta go with Khamzat on this. I think it's I'm not placing any bet on a Khamzat money line though. I would probably do a Khamzat KO submission for minus 190. Yeah, I'm not touching any type of line where it's I don't know, that's just not my style. It's not my style. I don't like to, it's a low risk bet is what they're telling you, but you can lose out on a lot of money for minimal gains betting on the money line, especially in kind of all these next fights I'm going to talk about. They're just, I think I'm confident Khamzat's going to win, but that's a disrespectful line towards Lee here. In the next fight, we've got Alexander Volkov minus 335 versus Marcin Tybura. Again here, I think it's a disrespectful line for Marcin, putting Alexander Volkov at minus 335 odds. I don't know if he should be that big of a favorite. I do like him to win this fight. I'm taking him on the money line. I just, I find myself stalling on some of these picks because, I don't know, you look at the opponent and you're like, I could get Marcin Tybura for, plus 260 odds. Against a fighter like Volkov, Volkov is, he's coming off a loss to Cyril Gane, whatever his name is. He's got terrific boxing. Tybura's not going to present the same challenges that Cyril Gane did. He could potentially present, a similar straight right that Derek Lewis did to Volkov. So I think Volkov should be able to point strike with Marcin. Volkov's tall, and I think he has decent takedown defense, yeah, if we're looking at he's going to be the taller fighter for sure, have the reach advantage. So it might be tough for Tybura to close that distance unless he's pushing Volkov against the cage or some shit. But yeah, I just think, and this here's the other thing, it's a huge step up in class as far as like the last fighter Marcin fought was Walt Harrison, and he won, but this is a big step up, big step up. We'll go with Volkov minus 335. I don't really want to throw a prop bet out there for this one. I think it could be a KO or a decision, but so does Vegas. I'm sure the line's very close to the minus 335 odds you would get on Volkov. Because they're obviously heavyweights and they do possess finishing capabilities, I do like the fight to not go the distance potentially. At minus 50, minus 150. We're looking at a combined 55 wins here on their resume, and 33 of those came through some sort of finish. So, 60% of the time, basically, they're scoring some sort of finish, both of these guys. So, I don't know. That's minus 150. That's an intriguing prop bet. I don't really have any. And then they're heavyweights, so you always kind of like the knockout ability and the power of those guys. So you can also usually tell in the later rounds who gets tired. All right, then we've got Islam Makhachev against Dan Hooker. And again, this is what I'm talking about. Islam comes in as the minus 720 favorite against a fighter like Dan Hooker. I'm a big fan of Dan Hooker. I'm a big fan of this fight right here, and I just don't. I mean, Islam's gonna hold the grappling advantage, right? And we know that's not where Dan Hooker wants to be. The better, more powerful striker in this, I think, is going to be Dan Hooker. You just fought, you got knocked out by Chandler, who's kind of going for that, it was like that in between, like, I'm going to grab your leg, but I'm also going to come over the top with the straight. Kind of caught him in between land. Kind of wonder if there's any potential for an Islam finish in this fight, and I don't think there is. I think if anyone's scoring a finish, it's going to be Dan Hooker via KO. I'm going to take Islam in this fight. I really want to take Dan Hooker. I'm going to be honest. I'm just taking Islam in this fight because he's a heavy favorite, and I want to be right in the information I'm providing you. Islam does hold a great advantage on the ground. I just like Dan Hooker. I don't know what to do, and as a result, I'm seeing Dan Hooker KO plus 1,100 odds. I'm seeing Dan Hooker on the money line plus 500 odds. Like, as a fan, I mean, I gotta do it. So, you can have fun casting your Islam bets. I'm telling you, I agree with you. I'm a huge Dan Hooker fan. And I am an Islam Makhachev fan. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing if I'm trying to make a point or something, but you know, there's just a few of these lines where I'm just like, I just can't understand how they get so out of control when you look at the resumes of like the two guys that are in that bout. So it's whatever. I mean, I know how the lines move and stuff, but I don't know. It just seems like they're daring me to do some stupid shit this weekend with my money. So too bad they don't know I'm crazy. All right, then we've got Peter Yan against Corey Sandhagen in the co-main. This will be a 5-round fight, which I don't know if I heard him interviewing back and forth, Islam and Dan Hooker. I think Dan Hooker said he wasn't sure if it was 3 or 5 rounds. Pretty sure with no belt on the line, it's only going to be 3 rounds, but I think someone mentioned, like, I mean, this could be a potential contender, you know, winner is the number 1 contender type fight, but I don't think it's necessary to make it a 5-round bout on a card where we've got so many different fights, and you already have 2 5-round fights on here, so I just don't think it's necessary to make it a 5-round fight. I hope it's a 3-round fight. If it's a 3-round fight, I'd probably give the advantage to Islam, just because I've watched his fights. He pushes a good pace. You know, some of the similar fighters that have fought his style of fighting, I don't think they look as tired in the latter rounds of their bouts. So, you know, we'll see what happens. I'm probably losing money on Dan Hooker this weekend, and I'm okay with that. If I bet on it, I'm okay with that. Next fight, we've got Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen. They're going to fight for the interim title. Winner of the bout will obviously draw Aljamain Sterling. I was going to say Sterling or something like that. Aljamain Sterling. Who, I mean, Peter Yan, I'll say this, I've never seen Peter Yan lose a fight in the UFC. He did lose a split decision to Magomed. I've never seen Peter Yan lose a fight in the UFC. I saw him lose a fight via disqualification. I've never seen him lose to another fighter in his division in the UFC. So, I love Corey Sandhagen. I think he's a good fighter. I took TJ Dillashaw against him, and that was just an epic battle. Sandhagen's an elite striker, has nice submission game, really dangerous opponent in Peter Yan, though. I could see, you know, Corey Sandhagen coming out, and he's always gonna be dangerous, and he's gonna be dangerous early in the fight. He'll probably be pretty dangerous at the end of the fight. He's gonna be spinning around. He's gonna be throwing knockout shots at air, I think, against Peter Yan, and I just, from a technical perspective, I like Peter Yan's approach. Was it stupid to throw that knee in his last fight? Absolutely. It was horrible. It was horrible. Because he was going to win the belt, right? And then, whatever. So, in my book, both Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen have wins over Aljamain Sterling, but as the actual books reflect, only Corey Sandhagen has that. I like Peter Yan to win. So both of these guys are really tough. I like a decision, I think, as a result. I think the fight does go the distance. That's minus 135. And then I like Peter Yan on the money line for minus 235. Corey Sandhagen's a plus 190 underdog. I like the Peter Yan decision for plus 150. Honestly, this one's probably one where I feel most comfortable just throwing some money on the Peter Yan money line. And then with Sandhagen, I think he did extremely well, obviously, in his bout versus TJ Dillashaw, his last matchup. I thought he lost, but I thought he had a really good fight. The rounds he did win, I thought he did in spectacular fashion. I just think, like, as a competitor, TJ Dillashaw, his competitiveness, his willingness to fight through adversity and some tough shots from Corey Sandhagen. That's the reason he lost that fight. I thought it was a great performance out of Corey Sandhagen. I just think I did see Dillashaw win that fight, and I think I saw I saw Corey Sandhagen almost like settle into this mode where maybe he thought he had a round or two that he didn't actually have, and then ultimately ended up losing round 5 in what I perceived to be a 2-2 match, and Dillashaw won. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Peter Yan. Probably decision, but probably just going to take Peter Yan. The pace of these guys is going to be so crazy, I bet, too. All right, and then for the belt, we've got Jan Blachowicz against Glover Teixeira. Both fighters are currently in the midst of 5-fight win streaks. I'm a big Jan Blachowicz fan. My best friend and I, we joke around that John Jones left the 205-pound division to run away from Jan Blachowicz to fight Francis Ngannou. Yeah, high respect for Jan Blachowicz. Obviously got KO'd by Thiago Santos prior to this win streak, but since then and even before then, just really solid, consistent, high fight IQ. Look at Israel Adesanya. He gave Izzy 0% chance to win that fight, and that was extremely smart. So I think he's in there to win. I think he's in there to defend his belt. I don't think he's in there to, how should I put it? I think he'd like to have a good performance. I don't think the performance is the most important thing to him at the end of the night. I think the most important thing to him is to walk away with the belt. So for that reason, and let's talk about Glover Teixeira. Okay. If you would have told me a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Glover Teixeira would get an opportunity at the belt here, I wouldn't have believed you. How old is he? Let's see. Yeah, we'll go on Shirt Dog. That's fine. Whatever. Forty-two. So, and he's just had some, impressive wins where he just he can wear down his opponent. What he did to Anthony Smith shocked me. Anthony Smith's spitting out teeth and Glover Teixeira is apologizing. I'm sorry, man, it's my job. And Anthony Smith's like, I know. It's all good. As he's getting his teeth knocked out by Glover Teixeira. Just a brutal fighter who's just, you gotta give him respect for even being in this fight. I think in order to win this fight, he's got to kind of implement the same game plan he has against like an Anthony Smith type fighter. Jan's obviously really well-rounded, so he needs to make it dirty, and he needs to outclass him in the areas where I think he might hold a little bit of advantage, which might be like in the clinch, standing up, something like that. Maybe, I don't know. But like part of me just thinks Jan's going to be too much and too good for Glover Teixeira at the end of the day, just too well-rounded. What Glover's done in these last 10 fights has been remarkable. Great performances, I assume great studying and coming up with a great game plan to walk away with 5 wins in a row at this age, but I think Blachowicz is just too much come tomorrow. So we're going to go with Jan Blachowicz on the money line for -310. Glover Teixeira carries underdog odds at +245. The Jan KO or decisions -280. I don't necessarily see him scoring the submission against Glover Teixeira, but -280 versus -310 on the money line. No one can tell you what to do. That's a decision to make, though. Yeah. So it should be a really good card. Like I said, it's on Yas Island tomorrow, so it starts early, 9:30 my time. I mean, if you're West Coast, that's 7:30 a.m. You got a freaking title fight on. It's nice, too, that it's free. I mean, if you have your ESPN subscription, you can just turn that on and watch them. It's really nice that they're free. You don't have to pay for something that, your Saturday morning cartoons. Like I said, I don't know how much of the beginning of the card I'll necessarily watch. I got shit to do. I got chores, laundry, shopping. I gotta go grocery shopping. So yeah, I just don't see myself sitting it down at 9:30 in the morning tomorrow until, probably 3 o'clock to watch all these fights. Probably rewatch some of them, for sure. But just, nah. And then this is going to be me tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. watching the pre-fight show. Why? Because I love it. I love it. So this weekend, what do we got going on? So as a, let's see, movies released this week. I think there's 2 new horror films that came out this week. One was Antlers. Let me see here. Why don't you guys look with me? Yeah, Antlers. That's like it's not Guillermo del Toro, is it? Is he the Pan's Land? Do I have that right? Guillermo del Toro. he did like Pan's Labyrinth. So that movie looks kind of interesting. You should check out the trailer on that one if you're a fan of horror films, because I think that one could be pretty good. Then we also have Last Night in Soho, which is kind of, I mean, that one's also supposed to be scary, but it's not, how should I put it? It's not like the same, it's like about a murderer, you know? Antlers, if you don't know who Guillermo del Toro is, he loves making up monsters and creating beautiful and horrifying things, you know? He loves the contrast, I think. And it's going to be, I think, a pretty interesting movie. And so I'm personally looking forward to that one. You know, obviously James Bond is out. We've got Venom. There's Shang-Chi. I saw Halloween Kills. I saw Dunes. Oh my gosh. Okay, this will be the last part of my show, and then I'll sign off. So I watched the Parasite 2 nights ago for the first time, and I watched Squid Games I'd say like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Resubscribed to Netflix just for like a month to watch that show, and really enjoyed it, and was talking to my family about it. And I saw somewhere like Squid Games, like it was by the makers of Parasite. I don't even know if that's true, but I'm just I'm speaking it like it's fact. So by the makers of Parasite, I said that won Best Picture. Never saw it, and then my mom said, "Oh, really? That was like your brother's favorite movie." And so I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. I'll watch it. I enjoyed Squid Game, and I'm not sure whoever writes those scripts, but like in the first episode of Squid Games and like the beginning portions of Parasite, they do a great job of like honestly portraying you know, the intentions of the main characters, and they do it in a way that makes you that's a little off-putting. Like, you know, these are almost, I don't want to describe them as anti-heroes, but they're, you know, they're extremely flawed individuals, right? And their flaws are what ultimately get them put in a crazy situation, right? Those flaws. And so in Squid Games, it's debt, right? It's debt. It's settling debt. It's, you know, it's a lot of different things. And I think Parasite was addressed some similar topics in the sense like you did have a little bit of that that, how should I say it, income contrast where there's rich, poor. I guess I'm struggling like to understand what the theme of either show was. The movie Parasite and the show Squid Games. And I don't think creative stuff necessarily needs to have a meaning. But I think I think there's an attempt to make some sort of like political statement in those movies. I just don't know what it is, you know? like, if your point is to like address the income disparity, or whatever, I don't think you need to. I mean, it's entertainment, but like I don't think rich people are killing poor people. Maybe they are. I don't know. I mean, in some indirect fashion. Um, I think it definitely both shows. You have this moment in both of the Squid Game series and the movie Parasite where you get um, they're so like hyper focused on something, right? Whether that's cash, whether that's maintaining a certain lifestyle. um, you know there's always something that like is of this world that the characters are extremely focused on. And then I wouldn't describe it even as just a singular moment. I think there's several moments along the way where these people kind of see what's really important, whether that's the mom in Squid Games, whether that's the one of the contestants that he befriended in there. In the absence of those things, those like good relationships and those people he loves, like in that darkness and that void, he can't even see the money. You know what I mean? And then on the flip side, in Parasite, you've got obviously really struggling family, and it just seems like, just on some weird chance, they just get, obviously that housekeeper, like that situation just ruined it all. And I mean, interestingly enough, what ultimately got him into that situation, the old housekeeper and her husband, was dead, right? The loan sharks, they said. So I think they're making some sort of statement. I just don't know what it is, Like, I mean, personal debt, country debt, debt by country, debt per capita. It's a really, I think, important thing to like understand. Like, is your population producing more? Are they able to save? Are they producing more? Are they exporting more than they're import? No. Are they contributing at all to society? And I think if they aren't, you're relying on other people to pick up the slack, right? And to pay taxes, and then you're to contribute even more, right? Because now I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know if the statement is like, I don't know. I think it's interesting that they're making a movie that goes into, it's almost like a Purge idea, but they're making a movie where like they're portraying debtors as like useless components and factors in society. Because their worth is negative, right? From a monetary perspective. and whoever is making these shows is quite literally killing them, right? So I don't know. I think there's always an underlying message in both of those that you gotta, you know, work hard. Work hard. You know, when you're there to work. I don't really know what the other messages are, but I've been rambling about Squid Games and Parasite for a little bit of time now. Really enjoyed both of them. If you haven't seen either, I would recommend watching them. Maybe go out to the movies this weekend. I know in Chicago area it's going to be a little bit crummy, the weather. We've got some rain here tonight. Sunday I'll sign on. I'll do my football show. Probably fairly early in the morning. I'll try and get on before 10. Make my picks. Didn't get the game last night right at all, but that's okay. No big deal. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. If you didn't already, smash the like button, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I just said that because I think I said the same thing the first two sentences I let out there. So have a good weekend, everyone. I will talk to you on Sunday.